Welcome back to the PSTA podcast. I'm your host, Craig King. But I am so excited about our guest, my coworker, my partner in crime, Tony Tuning, who is our Director of Association Activities. And if you can't tell, I am smiling from ear to ear because Tony is really funny. She told me she was going to make me work for this interview. Am I right, Tony?
You are correct.
Well, Tony, we are here on the lovely campus of Francis Marion University, where we are currently doing probably one of our favorite things to do, which is the professional clothes closet or the teacher clothes closet. So for the people out there that have no idea what the teacher clothes closet is, why don't you tell them a little bit about it?
So the Teacher Clothes Closet was started about 6 years ago because one of the campus directors from the University of South Carolina came to us with a concern because her students did not have enough appropriate wear for classroom visits, for different activities, and for doing their student teaching as well as interviewing. So we saw that as a community service that we could provide, and from that has grown just the one first event at our office, and it was kind of like throwing a party. You didn't know if anyone was going to come.
That's right.
But they came, and we were excited. We gave away close to about 50 students that first night, and from that it has grown to us having a trailer that Craig is our Uber driver, pulling that trailer all over the state, and we now go to colleges and universities statewide. We set up and we give away professional wear to first year teachers and to any student majoring in education, as well as counseling, therapy, that kind of thing. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun getting to give these students the clothes, and there's no limit to what they can take, and they just get so excited.
Yeah, when I think about that first clothes closet at the office, like I'm having flashbacks right now thinking about, we just turned that tiny office into a little boutique. And I think that's what we've heard people say as we travel the state. Like, it's like, this is a real thing. I think even the professors, when they come in for the first time, they're like, this is the real deal. Like, this is like a pop-up boutique. So I think you shared a little bit already about it, but can you pinpoint any specific examples of when you knew or when you realized how important this is? Has there been any shoppers that you can think of where they shared a story with you? And do you mind sharing that with us?
Absolutely. Well, let's start with the donors, because we do take our clothes through donations. And one of the first times when we started taking donations, a gentleman came to the office, and he talked about being a student teacher back in the early 70s. And he said he had one blue sport coat, and he wore that blue sport coat every day to work while he student taught. We also had another lady who came, and she taught PE. She was getting toward the end of her career and retiring, and she talked about when she was student teaching that the only area she was marked down in was own professional attire. She was own scholarship. She was at one of the more expensive private universities in South Carolina and working full time. Her parents were basically doing all they could to help her, and she just didn't have the money to buy what she needed, and she was marked down, which just made me sad. Yeah. And she said that, she never wanted a student to experience what she did because she was trying her hardest and wanted to please, and it was just really out of her reach. So those were two from donors. But from the students, we've had so many great stories. We've had people come through who are single parents who obviously are working and going to school. We've also had several who came through dealing with health issues. One immediately comes to mind several years ago in the Charleston area. The girl came to shop and actually left with a wagon load. We had to loan her our wagon to get out, to get to her car. But she had been recently diagnosed with lupus, and she had planned to work that summer prior to starting her student teaching in the fall and buy some clothes and some other stuff, classroom supplies that she needed. But because of her diagnosis, she was going to be undergoing treatment that summer. And she was so excited because she was able to tell her parents, this is, I don't need money money for this. She was worried about medical bills and that kind of stuff. We've also had students, one of the misters several years ago comes to mind. He was so fun. He was a big guy. I think he was even shocked that we had stuff that fit him. But he came in, and Craig runs our men's department.
That's me, by the way, if you didn't pick up on it. I'm Craig.
So Craig found him so many outfits, and then spent time talking to him about how you can take one sport coat and wear it with multiple different colors pants and changing up your ties and all of that. And he was so excited. He was literally on the cell phone calling his grandmother because he lived with his grandmother, had been raised by his grandmother, and he said, I cannot wait for her to see how sharp I'm going to look dressed. And this is something now I don't have to ask her for.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's such a powerful thing to be a part of and to see how it's grown. I mean, I remember for those out there, we would travel to clothes closets in 4 or 5 vehicles.
SUVs packed.
SUVs and my little car packed with space bags.
Oh, gosh.
And
I'm having
now,
flashbacks.
Yeah, we're having flashbacks right now. But now we've grown to where we have a trailer that we pull all across the state. So if you see the PSTA clothes closet trailer on I-20, I-77, a back road,
that's right.
Just give us a honk and let us know you support us. But I think based on what Tony has shared with us, I know our viewers right now, our listeners, they want to know how they could get involved. So talk about some of the specific items that we accept and how they can get involved if they would like to.
Sure, because we are 100% donor supported for the clothes. Luckily, PSTA covers the overhead as far as the staff that's available and travel and that kind of stuff. But as far as the clothes go, they come from donors. So we need anything you can wear for interviews, obviously. Dresses, blazers, coats, for men, suits, dress pants, that type of thing, dress shirts especially, anything that's clean. We don't ask you to hang it up. We can hang it up ourselves. And then we need smaller sizes, and things that they can wear on a day-to-day basis in the classroom. So for men, just khakis are very popular with the college students. Dress pants for the girls, tops, that kind of sweaters are very popular, cardigans, those things. But anything they can wear in the classroom, obviously we want the dresses to be modest. We want the clothes to not be frayed and good shape. We're not asking for new stuff. If you're like me, you have assorted sizes that you hope you're one day going to get back into. And so if they're just hanging there taking up space, it might be time to give them a new home where they will be greatly appreciated.
And I'll share this on behalf of Tony and her husband Chip. Tony has no problem going to shop for new clothes, so don't feel bad taking her clothes off of her hand.
Yes, so I've tried to adapt the one comes in, a couple go out. That's my mantra in my closet. It doesn't always go that way, but that's the hope. And then again, we do ask that they be clean, and we will sort them, that kind of thing. But again, small sizes, girls, our women's clothing, we're looking for smalls and mediums. For the guys, 30s, 32s, we need those. We need shirts, anything like 15 and a half, those shirt sizes, as well as the small sizes like smalls and pullovers and that kind of stuff. Ties are that's like fighting material for us. They
we always
love
need
the ties because again, we talked to them about you can take a white shirt and wear 5 different ties and nobody knows it's the same white shirt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we also do take accessories, but we do ask that they be in style. So unfortunately, no, we can't take your bell bottoms from the 1970s. But thank you for thinking of us.
That's right.
We do take accessories, that type of thing. So we just appreciate anything.
So how can they donate if they would like to?
So you can reach out to us via phone. It's 803-256-2065. You can call our office. Ask for me. I'm Tony. If I'm not there, you can talk to Craig, or you can have someone call you back about it. You can also email. We are not in the office a lot, so we always check our email. It's CHEWNING at palmettoteachers.org, ttuning@palmettoteachers.org, and we will arrange a time to either meet you. You can drop them off if you're in the Columbia area, or we travel the state. We'll be glad to pick them up, arrange a pickup. You can leave them on your porch and we'll come by.
Well, thank you, Tony. I told you it was going to be painless.
Craig, you never lie to
In
me.
full disclosure, before we even got on, Tony just gave me this look like, what? I said, you're not even going to be on camera. It's just going to be all audio, but we appreciate you taking the time to share about the clothes closet, and we are excited about the clothes closet and the future of it. And so thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Craig.
Greetings, PSTA family. This is Craig King back with another impactful episode of the PSTA podcast. Just like the past 2 weeks, I have Patrick Kelly with me, and we are excited to hear what happened. Week 4. I know I can tell in Patrick's eyes that he's excited that the week has ended and ready for the weekend probably. Am I right in that assumption?
This was the classic week that felt like a month. I am so glad to see the finish line, although we're not there yet, but it was a long week.
Yeah. The finish line is in sight. May is right around the corner. Not really.
No, we're a long way from there, but we are almost a quarter of the way done with the legislative session. They are 4 weeks in to an 18-week session at this point.
Sounds good. And give the people a timeline of, those that are listening for the first time. The legislative session starts in January, first Tuesday.
Yep.
First Tuesday, second Tuesday in January, and goes until
second week in May.
Second week in May. Okay. So as we wrap up week 4, anything you want to share with the people about what happened this week?
It was a busy week for education, both in the House and the Senate. The big headline grabber that's been in the news the most is the Senate finally, after 3 weeks, finished up their debate on S39, which would create education scholarship accounts in South Carolina. That bill passed. I believe the final vote was 28-15, if I remember correctly. So it was a pretty strong vote in favor of the bill. It did get amended in the waning moments on the floor, added some financial accountability provisions in terms of audits of the system. Probably the most notable debate at the end is the Senate rejected an amendment that would have guaranteed that a disabled student with an education scholarship account could not be denied access to an educational setting of their choice because of their disability status. That amendment wouldn't have required an independent or private school to change anything about their services. It just would have said they could not deny admission because of a child's disability status, but that amendment failed. So that bill is now passed. It has gone over to the House. The House assigned it today to the Ways and Means Committee, which means it's probably going to be a few weeks until we see that bill again, because the Ways and Means Committee is in the very depths of the budget process right now, and I wouldn't expect to see the ESA bill really start gaining steam again till after the House gets through their first round of budget review in March.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and share with the people the importance of the timing of that and why it's probably going to be delayed.
Yeah, I mean, the House is active on the budget process right now. The way that it works is the House of Representatives constitutionally has to initiate the budget process. So at this point, the subcommittees of the Ways and Means Committee have been holding hearings with state agencies to get budget requests. This week, the Public Education and Special Schools Subcommittee of Ways and Means heard testimony from Superintendent Weaver. It was her first budget request in her new role. Her budget request largely mirrored what the governor had asked for in terms of a $2,500 increase to every cell on the statewide minimum salary schedule, a $2,500 retention bonus for every teacher next year. But that review process has about 2 more weeks to go, and then the full Ways and Means Committee will review the budget. And then in early March, the budget will hit the floor of the House, and that becomes one of the most significant debates of the legislative session.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of eyes on that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I got an email recently about the full Senate education meeting. Mm-hmm. Literally popped up. Patrick, I was on my phone, so Patrick is probably wondering, what is this guy doing on his phone?
That's what my students do every morning.
He's supposed to be listening to me, but this is dealing with the podcast. So I saw on here, which, made me really excited, Read It Succeed endorsements on the Senate Education Committee next Wednesday.
Yeah, this coming Wednesday at 10 a.m., the full Education Committee will review a bill, S-418, sponsored by Senator Hembry, that does a lot of things, but probably the thing that current educators are going to be most interested in is it eliminates the Read to Succeed coursework that has been required for teachers going through their recertification process. It still is going to leave some literacy requirements in terms of training to be determined by the State Board of Education for elementary, early childhood, and special education teachers, but they will not be the Read to Succeed courses that a lot of people have been taking through Virtual SC. The bill says that teachers have to get credit for in-service training that they do around literacy. So if they're doing letters training or something, they get credit. And it also says that any required training for certification in the area of literacy has to be provided at no cost to teachers, which that hasn't been the case either.
Yeah, I am personally excited about that. I know some people in my circle of friends and family will be excited as well. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I mean, two big things. It's just that big of a week. On Tuesday, the full House Education and Public Works Committee passed the Transparency and Integrity in Education Act, which is the same CRT-related bill that the House passed last year. They added some notable amendments, a protection around ensuring that teachers can engage in fact-based instruction of controversial topics and current events, which I think is a significant addition, a requirement that the complaint process laid out in the bill in an instance where someone feels that a teacher or a school official is engaged in a prohibited topic, that complaint process now has to involve indicating that you've actually talked to the person that you think has violated the bill. So there were some notable upgrades. You know, it's unclear exactly when that'll hit the House floor, but I would guess Wednesday we might be seeing some House debate on that bill. It passed last year. It likely is to pass again, but that's something we'll keep members aware of. And the only other thing I'd mention briefly is if anybody is available on Tuesday, February the 7th, come to the State House. Now, if you're a teacher or you're an educator, take a personal day. But if you are able, or you can invite your community members, come to the State House for a day of action on safer schools. There are so many schools across the Midlands area of the state that have been shut down this week because of online threats that have been leveled against schools. Tuesday is a already planned day of action. It's not in response to what's happened this week, but it is to ask legislators to prioritize school safety during this session and have it front of mind and really to give it the urgency that it demands in their work.
Yeah, I highly encourage, as Patrick mentioned, any teachers that can attend on that date, please do. We both live in the same district where a lot of those threats have been, and it's rocked our families and as well as our communities. So please come out. And a quick shout out to Barnwell County School District Teacher Forum. We will have them on next Wednesday, February 8th for their Hill Day. So we're excited to have them up here as we show them how to advocate and for them to use their teacher voices. So Patrick, as always, thank you. For our listeners out there, make sure you subscribe, download, and share the PSTA podcast with not only your teacher friends, but also your family members who care about public education. This has been another great episode of the PSTA podcast. I'm Craig King, your host. Have a great day.